WWWWWFM.
You're listening to the Chris and Dave Smorgasbord live over WDGC. No bones about it. And we invite your phone calls at 852-0404. No ticking calls will be accepted. And now, back to the fun and frolic of Chris and Dave for a Saturday night at your house, car, or small child. Next time you have a party, and Chris and Dave stop in, say WDGC is invading my niche, and win.
Hey, this is pretty good. I like doing this.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. This is what you will be doing when you finish listening to Chris and Dave every Saturday night at 8. Just giving you fair warning.
Wow.
Let's keep doing this. This is great.
Come on, do it with us.
WDGC FM, taking your requests at 852-0404. And now, 250 watts of music right in your face. WDGC FM giving away $1. If you call us up when we play David Gilmour and Rolling Stones back-to-back, you win $1 from the big one, DGC FM.
Last summer, 40 million people turned on their air conditioning, and Chris and Dave got a call for more power. In less than 1 hour, Chris and Dave generated enough power to comply with the demand. So next time you turn on your air conditioning, just remember who's at the other end. It's Saturday night, and it's 10 o'clock. In a campaign for the betterment of radio, this station is once again prepared to air another Smorgasbord Show. The following program is not designed for a listener with a grade point average of over 2.8. This show may insult the intelligence of the regular listener and may bruise the ego of the occasional passerby. Your hosts for the Smorgasbord Show, not in order of their importance, are Chris Baquet, Jeff Baran, Pete McCain, Bubba Ganesh, Judy the Child, and Dave Jackson. So this show is for you who didn't go out tonight and spend the evening with WDGC Downers Grove. Is this Tehran, Iran?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
Do you speak English?
I don't know.
No, you don't speak English?
No.
No, does anybody there speak English?
Hold the line, please.
Okay, thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, do you speak English?
No, I cannot speak English. Persian hospital, jam.
Is this United States Embassy?
Yes. What do you want from me?
Is this United States Embassy in Tehran, Iran?
They don't speak English, and I don't like to speak English.
Well, we love to speak English. All the time.
Okay, 2 plus 3, that's
5.
Okay, and then brackets.
Okay, 2 plus 3 what?
And then bracket signs.
Okay.
Okay,
My brackets are like C's, but okay, go ahead.
okay. 2 squared plus 3.
Wait, 2 plus 3, quantity, squared?
No, 2 plus 3, and then bracket sign.
Okay.
2 squared
2 squared.
plus 3 times 4
Oh, God.
divided by 6 times 2 plus 2.
What are they teaching you? This has no significance to life at all.
Really?
Okay, you got plus 2
Yeah.
times the quantity 3 squared plus 4.
Yeah.
End of quantity, end of bracket.
I'm going to say 5I.
Oh. Oh, really?
No real solutions.
Oh, okay.
That's what I got. 5I. No real
5i?
solutions.
Oh,
Square root of -5, which is 5I. So that's it. That's the answer. 5I.
5i?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Good connection here.
KYDZ.
Hi, this is WDGC in Chicago. We're another high school station. Who's this?
This is Tracy Blake.
Hi, you a student there?
Yes, I am.
Hi, you're on the air in Chicago.
Oh,
Is this Wyoming?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, okay.
What's your format? What type of music or programming do you have?
well, we just play. We've got the top 100, and we just play anything. We've got records from 1964, and we
Good
take
year.
requests
Good year for
and
wine, yeah.
read the news and everything.
What a
Oh yeah,
concept.
you actually read your own news? Because we have to play recorded UPI news through a news wire.
Yeah, we have a Associated Press wire in our station, and we take the news right off of that.
Well, that's good. Does it feel strange? Because to me, I know it sounds strange to hear a station with a K, you know, because all the stations that are, west of Mississippi have a K, something like that. We have a W. Do you ever think about what it would be like to have a W for a beginning?
No.
That's a question that we always ask people west of the Mississippi.
I always wanted to be on a station with a K. Does it feel any different? I mean, how does it feel? Rewarding at all, or?
It doesn't feel any different than, I don't know, it's no different.
I think you'd have to work at a W station
Here.
to really understand.
I know what you... All right, I want you to do something for me, okay?
Okay.
Say your call letters, but replace the K with a W.
WYDZ?
Yeah, now how does that
How
sound
does
to
that
you?
feel?
It doesn't say kid.
What?
Kids.
That's the name of our radio
Yeah.
station.
Pretty zany.
Oh,
See?
yeah.
High school
Ah.
kids, you know.
The Chris and Dave Smorgasbord, keeping you company until you want it back. Welcome to the Smorgasbord Radio Show, Smorg Show podcast. Whoa! All right. This is gonna be great. I don't know who's coming in. Reckless driving over there, I hear. Hey guys.
Hey.
What's going on?
Somebody was following me from WHSD.
WHSD Hinsdale.
Yeah, they heard we were doing this special 40th anniversary, and I think they were trying to stop me from getting here.
Yeah. Oh, wow. It's Dave and Jerry.
But they're locked out now, so we're okay.
Okay. Well, that's good. Welcome, guys. Hey,
Thank
Dave.
you.
Thank you. Welcome back, Dave. You haven't been here since early last summer. So
Yeah, forever and a day.
It's really good to see you in person.
Yes, thank you.
This is a big day.
Appreciate it.
And Jerry, thanks for coming out, and thanks for partnering with me over the past year, especially. Jerry's really stepped up his game, I must say. You're going to make it someday in this business.
You're going places, kid. You're going places.
You're listening to the sounds of the Peter Moon Band, the original Chris and Dave Smorgasbord theme song. Well, not the original, season 2 or 3, depending on how you consider the old show, which we'll talk plenty about, believe me.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, let's let him finish out here, and we will kick off the show, and I will frame up what we're going to be doing here for the next 6 hours.
Okay.
No, I don't know what we're doing here. Oh, that was a nice abrupt ending. Okay. Okay, well, welcome, guys.
Thank you.
This is a big day. 40 years. Did you think we'd make it?
Well, yeah, I thought it'd be I knew I'd still be alive at this time. I was pretty sure.
You were
about
that confident, huh?
Yeah,
you're that arrogant, huh?
I was that arrogantly confident. It's like, I'm gonna live till I'm 100, dude.
No, seriously, this is not only the 40th anniversary of the show that Dave and I kicked off in September of 1982, but it's also, I would say, even more important that it is I mark this as the 40th anniversary of our friendship. This is going to be very touching.
Pass the popcorn.
Yeah, pass the popcorn.
There we go.
No, seriously, and I'm hoping we're going to do some of this over the next couple of hours where we're just going to talk. Even though I've got this all framed up and I've got this all planned and there's this really structured format that I've got here for the next, show.
Yeah.
Actually, 2 shows. I'll talk about that. I think this is going to be too much for one episode. So this is actually going to be about part 1 and part 2. But we'll treat it like one episode here because we're all together now and we just do it all together. Anyway, I would like to, even though it's structured, I want it to take its course wherever it takes us. Conversation, memories, the things that will spark different memories of our relationship together and the program.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at me for it. Look at him. Look at him. Put it all on him.
So for those of you joining us for the first time, first of all, the last few months, we've sort of taken some time off over the summer, and I've been doing a series of best of shows. Well, that ticket has ended. We can't do any more best of shows.
Are you saying the well ran dry?
The well ran dry.
Okay.
Well, those were encore performances.
Yes, exactly. But I kind of frame them up in different ways. I package them together into themes, not just playing old shows, just kind of putting different segments of the old shows together. But they've been primarily around the Smorg Show podcast, which we relaunched in 2010. Mm-hmm. What we're going to do today is really focus on the original show. Because we've done, the 100th episode, we did a retrospective of the Smorg Show podcast. But we never really did anything that really encompasses like what we did back that started this whole thing. You okay, Dave? The chair is giving you problems already.
I'm sinking.
You're sinking. So that's what I hope to do today.
Well, it's always good to be back at the lair.
That's right. And so let's kick this off with the proper, I don't know. Let's see how this goes. Yeah. What happened? Are you guys ready to head back to the 1980s? Oh, yeah.
I'm already there, babe.
Yeah. Oh, this one's hanging on at number 10. This is a montage of songs that were big when we kicked off our show in September of 1982. So I just kind of put this together to keep under us while we talk a little bit.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I can feel my hair resting on my shoulders already.
Yeah, we all had long hair back then.
Melissa Manchester, right?
Oh, yeah.
Totally forgot about this. Anyway. Okay, I can take the effect off.
Yeah.
So, you guys, I guess maybe to start, I don't think I really understand all of the two of your backgrounds. Before we met, what brought you into the radio realm? Maybe we talked about this before. Maybe I'll go last, because I think you know my story. But, Dave, what drew you to radio and leading up to kind of getting into the WDGC days?
Well, as far as I know, I always just loved the radio. I don't know how far back I can go, but I just always loved having a radio on. I remember I used to listen to, this is a strange memory to have, I know, but I remember one time I had the flu as a youngin', and I had Chicago Eddie Schwartz, who used to be on all night.
Yes. Jerry does a good Eddie Schwartz.
Yeah. And, I was just mesmerized by anything on the radio, music radio, talk radio, anything. And I never lost that.
Well, it's funny you should mention Eddie Schwartz, because there were many an evening, overnight actually, I'd spend listening to old Chicago Eddie.
Yeah.
With his jowly voice.
Yeah, and as kind of, I don't want to say, I can't think of the word I want, but he would call up the fire departments and police departments, and you guys are doing a great job, and of course they are, but it just the way it came off, it sounded a little nerdy or something, a little too.
He was one of those I would call police/fire nerds.
Okay, nerdy, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember.
But I listened. I listened to him.
Yeah,
he sounded great on the radio.
No, that's true. It's true. He was actually, but he was like that kind of geeky, nerdy kid who finally could get a radio show and be on the air with everybody. And he was one of those, like you said, he'd make all the police. I want to call officer so and so, and and then he was a part-time paramedic or something like that, or he got trained to be a paramedic, so he would show up and lend his paramedics. That was a thing that other DJs made fun of him about, actually.
Yeah. And he would chain smoke the Marlboros all night.
That's right.
Was it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. I didn't know he was a smoker.
Oh, yeah.
I know he was very fond of food. I remember. He was very fond of food. I remember that. Yeah. Sorry, I want to get closer.
Yeah. So anyway, I used to listen to that, and then the WLS years.
Oh, yeah.
Playing, with John Landecker and Bob Surratt, BS in the afternoon, and Larry Lujak, and the whole thing, So I just couldn't stop listening to the radio. And then when my mom moved us to Downers Grove, sure enough, there was a radio station at the high school. I figured, well, yeah, I guess I'll
why not?
be checking that out.
That was one of the first things I said, well, you have a radio station here? You could actually go on the air and do it.
Yeah.
And my dad used to take me around. I used to visit all the DJs downtown, and I wanted to work in radio. And later on, one of the people that my dad took me to meet, I did end up working with him years later. Mitch Michaels.
Oh, Mitch. Oh, yeah, doing the cruise.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Mitch Michaels.
He's on the river now. And
that's right.
I got to meet him. I told him the story, and he did not remember me at all.
Yeah.
But he knew it was for real because I described the whole setting over there at WKQX at the time. It was all automated.
KQX, yeah.
So it was a real thrill to meet him then, and it was a thrill to work with him when I did. And I'm not name dropping, but that was just taking some of the memories that are coming back to me. Now that was more recent. That was probably within the last 5 years or so. So anyway, I just eventually I went to school. Chris and I were both at Northern Illinois University. But I didn't want to major in radio because I'd already worked. I already knew how to edit tape. I knew how to prepare a radio show already. Not that I wouldn't have learned anything, but I went the English route, the English literature route. I don't regret that because I think it made me a better writer and a better thinker and researcher. So, but I just always worked in radio stations until the point where I no longer did.
What about you, Jerry? So you said you were drawn to you heard about the radio station at Downers Grove South. Of course, you lived in a location where you really didn't have any choice. You were going to that school regardless. I lived in an unincorporated part of Naperville, which we didn't have our own high school. So I actually had a choice to go to Downers Grove North or South, believe it or not. And at the time, I didn't know there was a radio station at South. North was the prominent place that had it, and we alternated, every other day. I think Tuesday and Thursday was South, and the rest of the week was North. But I didn't know that both high schools had a radio station. So I chose North, and I'm glad I did because I think that really set the rest of our lives.
Well, that's where I think the main studio and the main operation really happened at North. I mean, the South studio was basically a satellite of that.
That's right.
Because let's be honest, it's it was all established initially because that was the original high school. Downers Grove North was just originally Downers Grove High School. Then in the 60s, you had South pop up. But before that, which is interesting though because they did start the station in the 60s. I think the South was still around, but they just kept everything at North at that time, I think.
And we used to control who had the signal with basically a set of patch cords, right?
Yeah.
You just basically, you could unplug the Jerry Malauskas show just by a set of patch cords.
And we would.
Yeah.
And we did. No.
We did.
We did.
Take over.
Well, listen.
Yeah, so for me, my first interest in radio came from a gift I got from one of my mom's. So after
we didn't finish with me yet.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jerry. Your story isn't that important.
Oh
no, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, just basically, it actually dovetails what Dave was talking about. You listen to because Chicago, and it was obviously highly formatted, and structure was very important back then. But there's still a lot of these big radio personalities that existed back then. Larry Lujak and John Records Landecker and even, Eddie Schwartz and even Wally Phillips, who was kind of like for the geriatric crew.
Sure.
But we listened to all of them, and they and there was other things that you obviously listened to the radio, like if you listen to there's things like the Midnight Special, you'd listen to all this weird music and stuff, and then you hear other stuff, and we also had those brokers, and you would listen to so if you're just listening to the music or the radio that was happening in Chicago at the time, I think it automatically made you a radio junkie in some regards. If you were paying any kind of attention, you were always drawn to the magic that radio had in this town. It's not like that nowadays.
No, it's not, but it
totally sucks. But back then,
it sure did used to be.
Yeah, and that's what it is. And I think anybody who really paid attention at least had an affinity for it. Even if they didn't want to go into it, the radio became their friend, That's it. That's all I had to say.
For me, I actually trace it back to middle 70s when my mom was dating, and somebody she dated gave me this. We were living in Ohio at the time, and he gave me a radio, my first radio. It was a Cincinnati Bengals, football helmet.
Football phone.
Yeah, football phone with the
radio.
little, the circular dial on the side, which basically was just AM radio. Mm-hmm. And in the middle of the night, awesome. 10, 11 o'clock at night, I would just be, playing around with the radio, and they would just listen to music. And I remember the first song I remember today is Lionized by the Eagles. So I must trace it back to 1975-ish. So, and I was just drawn to the personality. And then we moved to Illinois, and I listened to WLS, and that's where all the personality radio, that's what you listen to for personality radio. John Landecker, like you said, Larry Lujak, Tommy Edwards. And then, of course, 1978, Steve Dahl enters the scene, and that
right.
totally changed the landscape as to what talk radio became.
Uh-huh.
And that was it. So from that point forward, I was doing, radio shows in my not my basement at the time, it was my bedroom. But it was just, I always had a tape recorder and just did little skits. I did, and played records. Yeah. I'd actually record songs from the radio on like a boombox, and I would play those songs back on my own tape recorder that I would do my own, announcing over. So that's really how kind of my interest in radio started. And then, of course, finding out about the radio station in high school.
Yes.
Which, okay, so there's some stories here that I want to get into that I will play, because before we all met, there was a backstory to me, which I think led to you finding me on the radio. So I have some clips I want to play that might remind you of maybe something that you have heard that.
Okay. I mean, the only thing I remember clearly was I just was home. It was in my room, and I had the WDGC on my radio, and you were on with Pete.
Yeah.
And I didn't know either one of you. And at the time, I didn't even know Pete wasn't a student.
He wasn't a student.
But
so hold that thought. Pete,
yeah.
So Pete was my best friend at the time, that was partnering with me in my basement / bedroom radio recordings. And I would drag him into trying to partner with him with doing, back and forth skits. And I was trying to do like the Steve Dahl kind of a thing. And then Pete would come on to some of the early WDGC shows with me. And again, he wasn't part of our school, so he wasn't really allowed in the radio station at the time. And I think during one of those recordings,
but it was a free for all. I mean, that was like our 60s, our in the 1980s was like our experience of what it might have been like, to live at a 60s radio station, because it was just like there were no rules, and there was no format.
No.
Dead air all the time. It was
feedback.
I wouldn't change a thing.
Oh, I know.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't
it was raw.
A thing.
So, For those of you just tuning in, actually, you're not tuning in because it's a podcast, so you probably have listened up until this point. And if you're still with us, so we're reminiscing. Who is this show for? It's really for us. I don't care. Anybody else is interested in hearing our story. It's great, but mainly doing this for us and sort of a permanent record for the future, for whatever it's worth. So we're talking about our old days of our how we met, our original program, which eventually led to this podcast. So we're going to be going down some memories here. Now, I just want to throw in something that I wanted to mention at the beginning of the show. The past few weeks, we have been airing the Carlisle show that we did 10 years ago to honor our 30th anniversary. So I'm glad I've done that because I was able to listen to that again.
They love us.
Oh, they love us. We're going to talk about the Carlisle, I'm sure, at some point. But the fact that I was able to listen to what we did 10 years ago, and in some ways, that seems more unbelievable that it's been 10 years since we did that show versus 40 years since we started our show, because I know it's been a long time since high school, but 10 years already since we did the Carlisle show and for our 30th is amazing. So I was listening to that and I'm thinking, okay, for the 40th, I don't want to repeat all of the stories that we told then, because we just aired the last 3 episodes have been 3 parts of the Carlisle show. So I don't want to do a repeat of what we did there. So it was good for me to listen to that again and make sure we don't do a lot of that. So I've dug up a lot of clips that we didn't include in that 30th. So having said that, before we get into anything else about our past, I do have a voicemail here from Allie, my daughter, who of course relaunched this show in podcast form in 2010. She is already 1 year married, and she is away on her 1 year anniversary with my son-in-law for the weekend. So she couldn't be here with us, but she wanted to send this message along to us, sort of kick off the show. So let's listen to this and we'll come back.
Hey guys, it's Allie. I'm sorry that I can't be there in the studio with you this weekend, but I still wanted to leave this little message and wish a happy 40th anniversary to the Smorgasbord radio show. I can't believe that 40 years ago is where this whole thing began, but I'm sure you guys are even more baffled about where those years went. But think of all that has blossomed since that seed was first planted 4 decades ago. The characters, the game shows, the songs, the news stories, the radio plays. I am so fortunate to have been a part of the revival of the SmorgShow brand, or the second act, you could call it, when it was relaunched in 2010 to internet platforms. Podcasting was such a niche concept at that time. So it's just been such a fun ride and so cool to see the progression of the show and how it's evolved over the years. But anyway, have a great time going down memory lane today, and I can't wait to join you behind the microphone very soon. I'll see you guys soon. Oh, and one more thing. Who wipes their butt on a burger?
Thank you, Allie. That was sweet. Little reference to one of our old stories together, reading some of the old news stories, and somebody at a Burger King had a loogie in their Whopper. And anyway,
I'm sure Jerry could tell us some stories about that.
Oh yeah, you worked at Burger King. Did you ever wipe a burger?
Did you ever hack a loogie in a burger?
Hack a looger for a customer?
By the time it came out of the broiler, only hawking a loogie on it would have only added to the taste. It wouldn't have taken away.
How many gallons of sweat fell off your brow into a bag of, I don't know.
Yeah,
French fries.
Yeah, the fries or
the fry machine or no.
Yeah,
they kept me on the broiler a lot. Chained me to that thing, darn it. And then the thing is, then you always had the steamer for the buns, and then if they were left in too long, somebody would give you a soggy Whopper because the buns would be too soggy from the steamer. Yeah. It was a disgusting job, and I blocked out most memories of it. Except that was a job where I actually got sexually harassed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's right. I think I remember the story.
Yeah, the assistant manager kept grabbing my butt.
Oh.
And laughing.
Hey there. Hey now.
Okay. Well, yeah, she thought it was funny, yeah. I said,
Were you aroused?
No, I felt violated.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay. Anyway, so let's get back to our progression. So right after I enrolled in WDGC, in Downers Grove North as a freshman, of course I signed up for the radio station. Of course, you have to go through Radio 1. You have to listen to those old time radio shows and write reviews, basically, right? You had to kind of do a book, almost like a book report on each of the radio shows, because you didn't automatically get an on-air slot until you completed at least Radio 1.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite old time radio show?
Sorry, Wrong Number, which of course we've done on this show. Recreated the old time radio. Yeah. So I got my first show, and I think it might have been like, I don't know if it was a Saturday afternoon or Wednesday afternoon. I mean, it was something like definitely not prime time. But so Pete and I would get together. And of course, I didn't say, well, we're not really there yet. Pete came up with the name of the Smorgasbord. That, of course, comes out, probably a year after this. So Pete and I were still doing some recordings. And here is 30 seconds or so from one of our brilliant productions called Blah. That was the name of the show. Don't hold me to it. I don't remember anything.
Welcome again to Peter McCain and Chris Bakay's show. It used to be called Blah, but it's been canceled. We had to think of another name for it because we're trying to make it a little more serious than the last week we had it. If you remember, 2 weeks ago, we started this little series called Blah. We couldn't think of a name for it, and I scribbled on paper and I asked Chris what the name of it was, and he said Blah, so we decided that was the name of our show.
Yeah, but now it's been canceled, and not by the censors, not by the general manager, but it has been canceled by us because we think we could do better.
And we certainly could, because it was terrible. I took some recordings out to my dad. I used to visit my dad in New Jersey every summer for summer vacation. I would play him some of our shows. And he said, you guys got to stop laughing at your own jokes. He was absolutely right.
Good advice.
Oops, sorry. Wrong microphone.
Yeah, but your dad was right.
He was absolutely right. Yeah. And I went back and I said, we need to come up with something else, and we need to stop laughing at each other and just giggling. And it was awful. It was stupid. So we had a purpose, and we did this sort of on location show where we went to the mall, we went to a water park, and we interviewed people who were there. And we would air this on, whatever time slot I had. So here's a minute or so from our a recording from Chris and Pete on location at Yorktown Mall, which wasn't too far from,
And these are the days when Pete still wore red pants.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And the big TV glasses. Yeah. And pimples. So we're walking around with a microphone, just looking absolutely dorky with our little Panasonic tape recorder.
And you with your new man sweatshirt.
My new man sweatshirt. Okay, I'm sure that'll come up later. Here's a clip from that show, Yorktown Mall.
Okay, so we're going out there now. This is WDGC FM, Downers Grove.
And we'll see you at Yorktown. Hi. How you doing? Okay. We're on a little thing from WDGC. Ever heard of it? Nope. No, it's a Downers Grove station. We're just looking around for stuff to do. What's good in here?
Well, depends on what you like.
Oh yeah. You got that carob stuff?
Yeah.
Where's that at?
Side.
Okay. Let's go check that out. What's this? Carob almonds? You got carob grasshoppers? No. Tell us what carob is.
Okay. Carob is made. I had to memorize this. Okay. Carob is made from a tree in the Mediterranean. The sap from the tree, and has no additives, nothing artificial. It's all natural. Has no caffeine, no fat, no preservatives, and 60% less sugar than chocolate has.
That's amazing. That's good. Oh, by the way, this is Frontier Fruit and Nut Company. Yorktown Mall.
Plug.
What's your name?
My name's Kelly.
Kelly?
Yeah.
Okay, we're talking with Kelly now.
And who are you?
I'm Pete. This is Chris.
Hi.
Pete McCain, Chris Bakay. You should listen to us sometime. It's 88.3 on your dial.
So that lasted about 3 episodes, and we got rid of that. And then we were back to my basement doing, I don't know.
It was great that you two did that, though.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was especially for that time, as young as you were, that was quite a bit of creative savvy.
What about? I mean, if that happened today, if you went to a mall with a tape recorder,
if you can find them all these days.
Yeah, that too. But do you think people would just be kind of terrified if you just walked up to them and started talking to them with a microphone?
Given that everything's a social media,
I
don't know.
Recording me? What are you doing?
I mean, I could be holding the camera up to them and they would probably not flinch because I think everybody's just used to it now. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, to physically,
tape recorder, microphone, that'd be kind of weird.
Walk up to somebody and just start talking to them. What are you doing?
Here's one more from those days.
What is this word?
Which word? Psoriasis.
Okay, that's what I'm going to be talking about. If you suffer from psoriasis, see your doctor. While there is no known cure yet, early treatment can slow it down, and since psoriasis may be confused with other...
Psoriasis.
Oh, sorry, I saw the P. Not in my back seat. It can be confused with several other skin disorders. It's important to get it checked. For more information, send $1.75 for a copy of the Department of Health and Human Services booklet. Psoriasis, right to Consumer Focus, Pueblo, Colorado, 81009. I'm Chris Baquet at 19 minutes after 7 o'clock on the Chris and Pete Get Together.
Jeez.
There you go.
Or just go online and get the information for free.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. It didn't exist then.
It didn't exist.
Pueblo, Colorado. Those PSAs.
Oh,
that came out of Pueblo.
Those.
Totally
fondly.
Yeah. What was that? What was the significance of that address? That's where that was the hub, right, for all the information that you'd hear on PSAs.
Yeah, all the PSA information was located in a vault in Pueblo, Colorado.
Yeah.
I knew that address for years, and also the address for Zoom.
The
television show Zoom on PBS.
Boston, Mass.
02134.
02134. Yeah. So Pete was supposed to call in and leave us a greeting like Allie did, but he decided to take the long road and try to submit something through the website. And I haven't checked this functionality in years, so it obviously didn't work. Nothing got to us. I'm like, dude, you had a week to get us something. So far, as of right now, as of this recording, nothing has come through for Pete, so I can't properly frame him up. But for those of you who want to hear a little bit more about Pete, he's had several key pieces of wisdom over the years that I'd like to share.
Well, there's one thing we know about Pete. He's very bad at getting assignments in when he's supposed to.
That's right. He never met his deadlines.
Never.
But we do cherish some of his words of wisdom over the years, and I've got a few right here. Let's play these real quick.
I hate people who, like, you're in their house and the phone rings, right? And they say, there's the phone. Like it moved or something, right? Why don't they, do you just walk along and say, there's the chair? I don't.
It's a regular Aristotle there.
Okay.
That's the thing, is it like, the classic thing is, if I knew now what I knew then. Well, the thing is that it wouldn't matter what because if you had now what you had then, or whatever, if you had like all these Pro Tools and everything like that, back then, your life would be different because you'd have so many more other things going on.
Okay.
Made perfect sense to me.
I got one more. Are you ready? Can you handle any more? Buckle up.
If you had been with some girlfriend or something like that, and you had gotten fed up, and if you had decided not to get fed up, if you decided to keep with that, everything would be different. Or maybe not. Maybe nothing would be different. It just would have happened like a day later.
Okay.
All right. Well, there you go. There's the background. There's the brain of our early workings of the Smorg Show podcast. So speaking of that, so fall of '82 comes around. Dave, I guess back to your story. You had heard me, I don't know, on one of those productions that we did. I don't know which one, but you obviously heard something coming out of your speaker that interests you.
Pete was in studio. I remember that. He was in the. It wasn't a recording. He was there with you, and I remember listening to it, and I said, "Hey, there's something going on here that I like." And So I knew I had to do something to try to figure out who you were. So when you said your name eventually, I probably wrote it down.
You Googled me.
And then because I was on executive staff at the time, I had access to all the names of the people that did shows and when they were on. And so eventually we met. I must have found out when you were going to be there next, or did I call you? See, now I don't remember.
This I don't remember either. I don't remember what brought us.
I think I probably just walked up to you and said, "Hey, I heard you." Yeah, I remember doing that. I said, "I heard you on the radio." And
yeah, it must have been late summer because we had to sign up for the time slots for the fall. The school season started.
Yeah.
And you and I said, we must have offered up the idea. I don't know who suggested it to the other, but hey, you want to do a show together? And we said, sure.
But first, before we even did that, I think I would you'd invite me over to your house and we would just do like some skits in your little studio that you had downstairs. So that precluded actually, I think, doing a show because we didn't have a show yet at that time.
Wow, I wish I had some of those. I couldn't find any of those in my archives.
So we used to do that, and then we decided, well, maybe we should try to actually do a show.
So we did, and right about that time, Pete came up with the name Smorgasbord, thinking, hey, it could be anything. It could be a variety. It could be, variety show kind of a thing, because anything goes. And it was just that moniker, that umbrella, that anything can fall under it. And it stuck. It stuck. I guess we took it and we went with it. And we signed up on the request for a show for that fall. And it's like, it's like play tryouts. You go after the classes are over and you look up on a bulletin board of like who gets what, part. I think it was like who gets what time slot. And I scanned this list and I was like, Chris Bakke, Dave Jackson. Saturday night, 8:00. It's like, wow, that's prime time. We got like the best time slot of the entire week. Wow, the pressure's on. We gotta do something.
And part of that probably had to do with I got to choose, or at least somebody probably asked me, because being on the staff, we probably got first pick of the time slots too.
Maybe, yeah. You were a junior, I was a sophomore,
yeah, so I think that had something to do with it.
Yeah, because I certainly didn't have. I didn't put in enough time to warrant a time slot like that. So your name must have been the waiting factor that gave us that time slot. And the Smorg Show was born. And here is just a few seconds of our very first show.
WDGC FM, Downers Grove. Thanks, Chris. How you doing, everybody? Chris Bakke and Dave Jackson for a Saturday night, the week before homecoming. Isn't that thrilling? Here comes Chris.
Hey, how you doing, Dave? WDGC, FM Downers Grove.
Great.
It's about time to get a new tape.
It's about time to get a new radio station.
What is that supposed to mean?
Nothing. It means nothing at all. Never mind.
We take that back. Okay. Okay, 17 minutes past 8 o'clock. You've got Chris and Dave on the Smorgasbord program. We're going to be here till 10 o'clock.
And I guess parallel to all of this happening is we have to bring Jerry into the fold, because we met Jerry about this time. And similar to your experience, Dave, of tuning in and listening to me, I tuned in and listened to Jerry. And this is the first audio I ever heard of Jerry. Now, why I'm actually recording this at the time, I have no idea, but I am glad I did, because this is classic.
That was Eric Clapton doing Can't Stand It on WDGC. This is Jerome Malauskas. That's always been a hard name for me, even though it is my own name.
And that clip is now in the Radio Hall of Fame.
Yes, it is.
It should be.
Oh, classic. But then,
well, it's nice to know I finally hit puberty.
Yeah. I have a few more clips of those, just quick clips also from, I don't know if it was that same show, but just some things that are worth bringing out. Here's Jerry explaining what a cart machine was. Remember cart machines? They're like the things that like an 8-track tape that you put in for commercials or a quick soundbite. you hit the button, and sometimes they work, sometimes they didn't. Sometimes they weren't cued out. The tape was like in the middle, or it was wrinkled, or you had technical problems. So Jerry stumbles across one of those problems and explains.
Pre-digital age.
That's right.
Say it's
let's try it one more time.
I don't know. Say it's I say cued out. They probably don't know what the term is. You probably don't know the term, but that means that our we got these little tapes here. We play them, and sometimes they're not put at their starting point where they where you would push them, they would start. But not right now because it wasn't queued out. So you know what queued out means, and even if you don't, it really doesn't matter because it's not going to go anyways whether you do or not. But like I want to remind you again, the number is 852-0404, 852-0404 if you have requests, and we'll try to get the song, and so a song that is queued out. But we're going to go and take care of a little business and try to get that song on after this.
I think it's kind of funny how that wasn't queued out when I started to play it. Whoa.
It's the irony, man.
Irony.
Cosmic irony.
Yeah, he's taking a jab, their left jab.
What was that?
Yeah, he's taking a jab, their left jab.
A jab, a left jab.
Jab and a left jab.
Jab and a left jab. Jab and a left jab.
Jerry? Are you talking about Jerry Malauskas? Jerry Malauskas? Yeah. Jerry.
Okay, so I got a million of them. I got one more. Sorry, Jerry, to put you through this torture. I've got one more. Jerry's situation around Christmas time where somebody...
Yeah, I remember that very well.
But I won't play the whole bit. This is just a reaction to that. Your greeting for Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Somebody peed on your cat, apparently. And I don't know how that story unfolded.
It was my Bruce Springsteen hat. It was the hat I wore. It made me think I looked like Bruce Springsteen.
It was a corduroy hat, and some
it was
stupid kid peed on it and left. I don't know how you knew it was peed on.
I think they told me. Or
something.
Whatever.
You got
and
some
it,
kind
and
of.
It was, and if I remember, it was in the toilet.
It was in the toilet. How did you find it? I don't know. Yeah, stupid kids at the radio station.
Well, you know,
we all got our own. I got plenty of abuse too. Well, we'll get to that. But here's your little summary of that.
And I'd just like to say Merry Christmas to all you nice people out there who know how to really treat and respect private property of somebody else, and have totally goodwill towards other people and all that. I just hope somebody does to your eggnog what they did to my hat.
There you go.
Had some pretty good lines back then.
What kind of accent is that?
What I'm doing there, that is whatever my dad was talking like.
Merry Xmas, all that stuff.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, basically.
Is it necessary to put a guy through all that torture and bullshit?
This can't be a G-rated podcast now. That's
I got the chicken.
got the chicken.
I got the chicken.
Got the chicken. Well, now you understand why I talk like that.
Yeah.
Back then. Well, you know.
Oh man.
Oh wow.
Dave's got a phone call coming in here. There's
a bit of Twilight Zone there.
One more thing here. Let's see here. Am I going down this list here? Okay, so we talked about a lot of things, and we had a few highlights from the first season. Of course, at the start of the show, when we opened up with the montage, there was a little clip there of the homework hotline. And that was something that we decided to do, just take calls from people who needed help with homework. And one of the girls who called in needed help with her algebra, and that's what Dave was helping with the algebra. And a few episodes later, we were having a game show, and we wanted to have, we didn't have a bell, sort of a winning bell, which I think is over there somewhere. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
There he goes. This is the original bell. It's still in the archives.
Later.
This is going to be entered in the Radio Hall of Fame also after the show's over. She sent that in to us and with a nice little letter. And so I called her back. And then, of course, that led into a 3-year dating experience with her, which is a completely different story, which we won't get into here. But that's that was part of the early Smorgasbord days. But part of that also, one of the earlier episodes, we used to take phone calls from people, and the group of individuals, these teens, they had their little band called the HPs. They were the Hop on Pop. They would do songs to Dr. Seuss. Okay, Dave's stepping out for a call, and we will play this and reminisce. So they called in, and they did this for us.
Oh, the wonderful thing Mr. Brown can do. Moo, moo, buzz, buzz, pop, pop, pop. Eek, eek, hoo, hoo, clap, clap, clap. Dibble, dibble,
Very good.
clap, cock-a-doodle-doo. Mr. Brown can do it. How about you?
You can do it too.
They're good. I like it.
Cool.
He can go like a horse, slurp, slurp, slurp. Like a big cat drinking, slurp, slurp, slurp. Well, he can go like a clock, tick, and he can tack. Tick, tack, tick, tack, knock, knock, knock. Oh, the wonderful thing Mr. Brown can do. Slurp, 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 cock-a-doodle-doo. Like an egg in a frying pan, how about you? Mr. Brown is smart, as smart as they come. He can do a hippopotamus too.
I like it. This is great.
That was fun. And then, of course, when we relaunched the show in 2010, my daughter and I would try to recreate some of the things that we did back then. And so we had our own little version of that.
Oh, the wonderful things Mr. Brown can do. He can go like a cow. He can go moo, moo. Mr. Brown can do it. How about you?
He can go like a bee. Mr. Brown can buzz. How about you? Can you go buzz? He can go like a cork. Pop, pop, pop. He can go like horse feet. Clop, clop, clop. He can go eek, eek like a squeaky shoe. He can go like a rooster. Cock-a-doodle-doo. He can go like an owl. Hoo, hoo, hoo. Eek, 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 eek. Cock-a-doodle-doo. Hoo, 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 hoo. How about you?
There you go.
The hip hop remix.
Yeah. Yeah. So the HPs, they were. That was actually pre-Bell. Pre-Bell, I'll say her name, Audrey, who gave us the bell. I met the girl from the HPs. The
lead vocalist.
She actually gave us our first bell.
Oh.
But yeah, that's Smorg Show trivia. And
I also
she wanted it back though. Because for whatever reason there was no spark between us. I think she was trying to get into the show through me. I mean, I don't know. She wanted to meet me, and I met her, and I wasn't interested. And then she started getting really weird about it afterwards, and she's like, I want my bell back. Like, fine, I'll get you your bell back. And then we got the other bell. So anyway, yeah, the HPs, they had, coffee cans for the drums?
Coffee cans for drums. And
yeah.
And somebody had a bass guitar for no apparent reason.
Bass guitar?
Yeah, well, you heard the bass.
Yeah, well, you needed it.
Well, yeah,
rhythm
if it was just
section.
drums, that would just, would have been kind of boring. Actually, whatever little bass line they played was actually
boom, 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 boom,
yeah,
boom.
not bad. Except that they did there were certain points where they were kind of getting out of sync with the time. But they were like 13 years old at the time or something.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I was
So
13, 14. Yeah,
we can't expect a lot.
It's really weird to think about these people we used to mingle with. It's like they're like 14, 15. Like now it would be creepy. Now it would be illegal. But back then it was okay. Yeah.
Well, there was only like a year. It was only a couple of years gap anyway, because you were 16 or 17.
I know, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. So.
All right, now I've got to.
Perv.
I've got something here to play that I think you both are going to enjoy because neither one of you know this story. And I've teased it over the years, but I never actually talked about it. Nobody's asked about how did Baba come into the picture? Well, now you're going to know the story, the backstory of Baba Ganesh. He called in. He wasn't able to join us today in person, but he called into the show, and I talked to him about 2 weeks ago, and I recorded this. This is the story of our meeting and how we plugged him into the show. So let's sit back and enjoy this together, shall we?
Sure.
You have an incoming call from Baba Ganesh.
Oh, wow. This is going to be fun. I am so excited. It's been a long time since we've talked to Mr. Baba Ganesh. Here we go. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Well, it's just me right now, Baba.
Yes, well, okay, that's fine.
They're going to be here later, the rest of the gang. Hello?
Well, hello, Chris.
Yeah. Hello,
Hello,
yes.
Dave.
Hello. No,
Hello, Jerry.
they're not here.
Hello, Abby.
They'll be here-
Everybody who is involved in the SmorgShow podcast. I wish to wish you all a very happy anniversary. And I am so glad that Baba is still around living in this earth
For sure.
to be able to wish you a very happy anniversary.
Well, thank you.
I was with you from the very beginning.
That's right.
And I have enjoyed my journey along the way and seeing all of you young children grow up into handsome people.
Thank you. Yeah, I've always wanted to tell our story, Baba, how we met. In fact, that's like the number one question I get on the hotline. How did you guys meet? And I don't think it was my story to tell necessarily because it involved you. And I wanted to wait for the right time to really share it. So now that it's the 40th anniversary, I thought this might be the appropriate time to talk about it. So go ahead, tell me your perspective, and I'll jump in with my details as I recall them.
Yes. Well, as you may or may not know, I came to this land of opportunity back in the year 1978.
Mm-hmm.
That is long before so many of you. Well, maybe not so much. Maybe just Allie. Everybody else was around, but you were still little punky teenagers.
That we were.
Or preteens.
Preteen, probably, yeah.
I came to the U.S. in the late 70s to market and distribute my brand of incense cones.
Incense cones, right.
They were very unique in the day because most incense were sticks, the form of sticks.
Yeah, my parents
And I
had
came up with the ingenious invention to put them in cone form. So you put them in a little ashtray and you light them and then they sit and then you breathe in the aroma.
Mm-hmm.
My brand was the Ganesh Cone Incense.
I remember.
And I wanted to market them to the U.S. market.
Yeah, I actually remember that. My parents, so I'm going back to my real childhood days. My parents were all into rock music. They used to lock themselves in their bedroom with their headphones on. They would be listening to Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, all those, the albums of the 70s. And I always remembered smelling this fragrance that, I never smelled something like that before. Turns out it was incense, but you're right. They started out being those long sticks that you would light, almost like cattails, like really thin, like sparklers in a way. So yeah, that's what I remember.
So I came here, and through my connections, I was put in touch with the owner of a small waterbed store. I think it was called Sweet Slumber.
Good memory.
In Downers Grove, Illinois, which was just down the street from your high school,
Yep.
the radio station.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, I can say now that waterbed store was nothing more than a front for a more extensive head shop.
Yeah. You're right. This is the interesting part of the story. I was actually very surprised that you were involved in a business like that, honestly.
Yes, I know. I'm not proud of it, but I worked there.
Yeah, so I remember going into that store one day and with my parents because they had owned a waterbed. Back in the 70s, they had a waterbed, and I thought it was always pretty cool. And so I think I might have been, 15 or something, and I said I wanted a waterbed for maybe my birthday or something. So we went waterbed shopping, and we found this little place in downtown Downers Grove, this Sweet Slumber, and it was a very small store. And really, now that I think about it, there was just one waterbed on display, like when you first walked in. And the store, the front of the store wasn't really much larger than the one waterbed. So it was kind of really weird to walk in and there's this bed. And then there were people like trying it out. So I remember wandering around and I remember this very strong smell coming from the back of the store. And so I was led by this fragrance, through these, I guess you call them happy beads or the peace beads, you know, the things we actually have them on the studio here, like the hippie beads. And it had this like velvet wall screen. And so I went back there and I saw you for the first time sitting on this big rug in a meditative state, just burning incense. But there was also a lot of other products that I wasn't familiar with at the time. I mean, nor am I now, but I could identify. They're basically drug paraphernalia, right? They're like bongs and a lot of other, you know, strange things.
It was my start. It was my early start. I did not promote the drug paraphernalia. I was just there for my incense. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Well, that sets up the next segment of the story quite nicely, because right about that, I was in my second year of high school, and I had signed up for our television class. You know, we had radio, and then I got my first radio show, and then I signed up for the TV class. And part of the TV class, you had to write and direct and film a commercial. And so I was looking for a product or a store, because you could feature a local business to feature for this commercial. And not in addition to having the radio station, Downers Grove North High School had a cable TV station. So this was going to air on television. So I wanted to make a good commercial. So that was what gave me the idea to partner with you for your Ganesh cone incense. And so we talked about getting you involved in making the TV commercial for my television class.
Yes, I was thrilled to do that for you. My first time I dipped my toe into the media and advertising business. I thought it would give me more exposure for my incense. So I credit you for my early success in this land of opportunity.
Well, it was my pleasure. I had no idea we were going to be such good friends. And actually, before we go on, I have that 30-second soundbite from the commercial. I dug it up from the archives. Let's play that real quick and then come back and you can react to it.
Hello, this is Baba Ganesh speaking for Ganesh Cone Incense. Do you see this man? He is very happy. Do you know why he is very happy? It is because he is enjoying his favorite music while relaxing in an atmosphere filled with the fragrance of green mountains. Set number 12 in the Ganesh Cone Incense series. There are many unique aromas to choose from, including oils and spices, orchids and vines, spraying mist, and herbs and flowers. You may even burn 2 or 3 fragrances at a time to create your own new, unique fragrance. So take it from me, a man who has been using the substance for many, many years. Your friends, family, and guests will enjoy the wonderful scent that Ganesh cones can produce. So hurry out today and pick up Ganesh Cone Incense and become a very, very happy person. Thank you very much.
Ganesh Cone Incense, available at Sweet Slumber in Downers Grove, Pier 1 Imports in Downers Grove, and the Asian Shop in Bolingbrook.
Wow, what a fine production that was. Your voice sounds very different. Yeah, I forgot you had done the voiceover for that commercial.
I didn't say so at the time, but you had a very serious misunderstanding of my culture on a number of levels.
Yes, I know.
You know, that man in the video is not Baba Ganesh.
I know.
That is a different guy from your class. I think his name was Tom
Janicki.
Janicki or something like
Tom
that.
Janicki, yep.
And he did not look like Baba. In fact, he did not look like an Indian at all.
No,
he was wearing an Arabic scarf on his head.
Oh man!
Which I think it is called a shamarg.
Yeah.
Shamarg. I don't know.
shamarg?
I'm not Arabic, but it is worn by Arab men in the Middle East. It's that cotton scarf on the head held in place with a strong cord of some sort.
Yeah.
And, that is not a turban. I think you were, and I did not even wear a turban, so I don't know what you were coming up with. And by the way, I went along with that joke of yours, the camel jokes. You changed the elephant jokes to a camel jokes.
How embarrassing.
Because you thought the camel was Indian. So you did a play on words, but you could have kept the elephant jokes as it was. And it would have been funny, me telling you those jokes. Because we have elephants. I mean, we have camels too, but we are more prevalent with elephants.
I know that
so
now.
Your ignorance of my culture was overwhelming.
I was 15.
But given the time,
yeah,
I let it go.
Well, thank you. And thanks for bringing that up. I'm really embarrassed now because I would not make those same mistakes now in 2022. I didn't know much about it. It seemed like another planet to us back then. We were not multicultural back then. We didn't know. We just thought it was funny to make fun of, Indian culture. We thought, okay, let's put this towel on this guy's head and just basically call him Indian. I didn't realize now looking at the video, which is on our website, it's very embarrassing. You don't look, the character is not Indian. And we got this Indian voiceover. Ugh, how terrible. I'm sorry.
Yes. Well, anyway, it was very good talking to you. I am again sorry for not being there in person.
Yep, I get it.
I know this is a big anniversary and I should have been there, but I hope you understand. And I am thinking of all of you, and I am looking forward to another 40 years.
I hope you're around another 40 years. I'm hoping that I'm around another 40 years. I don't know if I'll see myself doing this in 40 years, but no, seriously, we really appreciate it. We're good friends. Thanks for being with us. You've been all along us on the way through your restaurant days to your entrepreneur, exploring different businesses. This guy is the American dream. Let me just tell you right now. And we just really appreciate you coming on to our show and enlightening us with your words of wisdom, your thought of the day, your wisdom and your humor. And you're a good person, Baba.
All right. You take care. And I will be back in touch this fall for the new season.
Looking forward to
Lots
it.
of Baba material.
Awesome.
Ready to flow my way.
Very good.
Which will then flow to you.
That's good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Baba.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks for calling. Man, what a great guy.
And now, back to Chris and Dave.
Okay.
Culturally insensitive.
Oh, my gosh. He is so right. He's so right. That was fun. That was fun going down those memories. No, he's right, though. The comedy camel thing, I don't know what I was thinking back then because we had those elephant jokes.
Right.
And we could have just played those. We just could have called it elephant jokes because...
But you know what? Comedy camel, and comedy elephant, they just don't...
Right.
Comedy elephant doesn't roll off the tongue like comedy camel.
Well, like Krusty the Clown, that K sound. It's funny there. So comedy camel, it's all there.
And I'll light up a camel as I'm listening.
I got to take care of this air conditioning. Apparently, it just kicked off. Hey, Alexa, turn off air conditioning. Okay, well.
Okay, Chris.
Actually, let's play this comedy camel bit here real quick. We'll be right back. We'll take care of the air conditioning because it kind of interferes with our microphone situation here. We'll be right back.
How you doing, Baba?
Yes, I am doing fine.
That's good.
How's it going?
Well, it's going pretty good, actually. We're ready for your words of wisdom to bring the show to a grinding halt.
I have two features tonight.
Play it cool.
Today's stuff of the day.
We sign your check.
If you were to take a pet camel.
If you were to take a pet camel.
No, your.
If I were to take your pet camel.
If you were to take your pet camel.
If I were to take your pet camel. If I were to take.
Pete, you know what I am saying.
If I were to take my pet
Wait,
camel.
come up to the microphone.
If I were to take my pet camel. Is that what you're saying?
What?
If I were to take my pet camel.
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much.
If you were to take a camel and go down Main Street or Ogden Avenue.
Yeah, so?
You must have a leash.
Which direction?
It does not matter.
All right.
You would have to make sure you had a big pooper scooper.
Yeah, I can see the need for a camel pooper scooper. In downtown Downers Grove. Yeah, sure, Baba, sure.
If you did not have one, you know what you would have?
Well, I'm sure you're going to tell us, my dear friend.
Pete, what would we have?
A blushing camel.
Yes, because you would be very embarrassed. You would have a blushing camel. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're quite welcome.
But I am not done.
And take this record with you when you leave, too. Yeah, but
I am not through.
Oh, go ahead.
It is time for comedy camel. I have 3 camel jokes.
3 camel jokes.
What is the difference between a camel and a grape?
A camel and a grape. Gee, you got me hanging there, Baba. I don't know.
A camel is gray.
Yeah? You got another one?
That was funny.
What did Jane say when she saw the camels coming over the hills? That here come the grapes.
All right.
She was colorblind.
Colorblind. Yeah. I'm ready for the last one. Go ahead.
Why do camels not have wings?
Why do camels not have wings? I don't know. Tell me, Baba.
So you can tell them from canaries. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks, Baba. And we'll call you.
Yeah, don't call us. We'll call you.
No, actually, I like the last one. It was pretty good. It was zany.
Be zany. Thank you, Baba.
Yeah, take that record, please. When he gets on my proverbial nerves. Ugh. Saturday night cruise music.
Bad. Wasn't our best material, I must say.
No.
So he changed it from elephants to camels.
Yeah.
But the punchline was camels are gray, which were elephants are gray.
Yeah, elephants are gray.
So it was all messed up. What the heck? And then Baba did take phone calls at one time, and that was a mistake.
Hello.
Yeah, Baba. Do you wear underwear under all those bed sheets?
Do I wear underwear where?
I don't think anyone will ever know that,
Under
sir.
all your bed sheets.
Bed sheets.
Well, that's it, huh? Should we get rid of Baba?
No, don't get rid of me yet.
Don't get rid of him. He's drawing in some interesting phone calls.
The band is reaching a climax. Let's make this the last one, Baba. Okay, it's fair enough. Hello, you are on the air.
You gotta be kidding.
I am not kidding, this is for
No,
real.
Baba is no joke, and he does wear underwear.
This is really 1984. Okay.
Gosh. So,
geez, and I never understood why your show got in such trouble with the management over at the WDCB. Never understood that.
yeah, well, we did get into trouble, and this is our last segment of this particular show. We did, as we were starting to take more phone calls, we were getting people who were naughty, and they would swear. And here's an example of that.
Hi there.
Hello?
You're on the air, so watch your buns. Who is this?
Who is it?
Yeah.
John Byrne.
Okay, what can we do for you, John?
Play a tune.
Which one?
I don't know. What do you have?
Well, we got too crazy.
Okay.
You want to start reading them off left to right? All the way from eight.
Let's hear some What's Up one. What do you got in
We've got everything from ABC to ZZ Top.
ABC, Brian Adams, Martin Briley,
no,
Bad
not
Company,
these.
The Cars,
Elves.
John Cougar.
Elves.
What?
What's Up one. What do you have in What's
Some
Up?
Zeppelin, some
Yeah.
Jimmy Page. Okay, we'll play some for you. I got some.
What? I want to hear what you got.
We got Into the Outdoor. What's in your crate, Dave?
I don't know. I was driving along the other day and my Houses of the Holy album just flew out the window, but I've got some other ones in my crate somewhere.
Well, let's hear them.
In through the outdoor?
Let's go.
Is that
Fast
all?
paced show here.
Is that all you got? Fuck it out!
Should we play a song for him anyway? Play some Zeppelin? No, he
Nah.
doesn't deserve it.
Let's go to
I was gonna play
Springsteen.
some Zeppelin.
Play some Springsteen for him. That story about the Houses of the Holy album flying out the window, that was Jerry's contribution. What happened there? We were driving around. The windows were open. And you put your arm out the window with the Led Zeppelin record.
It just flew around.
It was Dave's record. What the heck? You remember that? Do you remember that?
Kinda. Yeah, kinda.
They never got it back. You're like, oh, man.
Sorry, Dave.
I must have bought another one because I have it. I have the album, so.
Oh.
Well,
most of the people who called us, they just wanted to hear
Zeppelin.
You know, Sweet Leaf, or, you know, they just wanted to hear music, I think.
Yeah.
I think so.
Like, why are you guys talking so much?
Why are you guys talking so much?
Yeah, man. Play some UFO.
So after a few of those incidents, we had to come up with our own way of taking calls with our delay system. We had to create our own delay system. And of course, back then we had no high-tech equipment to delay a live call for 6 seconds so we can dump it. So we created our own. We had 2 reel-to-reel tape decks sort of mounted on the wall there, in the rack. Nice rack. And you'd have the recording source, reel to reel, and then it would play back on the, playback heads. And I don't know what I guess it came to me one night. I'm like, yeah, this could work. So I put a tape on the recording heads, and I had it fed through on the playback heads. And it took about 6 seconds for the recording to get to the playback head. And it worked. It actually worked. But we played unnecessary games with it. So we would actually record ourselves, and it would play back, and it would go on the air, and it would record and play back. And so it was this endless loop of, yeah. So here's how the effect of that.
Come on.
Dear Meg.
Come on.
Dear Meg.
Come on.
Dear Meg.
Come on.
Okay.
All right.
We're signing off.
All right.
All right.
Wow.
We're signing off.
All right.
Wow. Take the phone off the hook. We're signing off. We're signing off. See, somebody wants to be on the air with that.
Yeah, I guess so.
Signing off. It's still ringing.
Still ringing. Yeah, I guess so.
Wow.
This is very strange.
It's a minute before 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I guess so.
Wow.
This is very
It's still 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
Amazing all-day facial firm-up. Works like an instant liquid facelift. Amazing all-day facial firm-up. Works like an instant liquid facelift. Amazing all-day facial firm-up. Works like an instant liquid facelift. Amazing all-day facial firm-up. Works like an instant liquid facelift. Amazing all-day facial firm-up. Amazing all-day facial firm-up. Works like an instant liquid facelift. Amazing all-day. Amazing all-day facial firm-up. Works like an instant liquid facelift.
The best part of the show.
Amazing all-day facial firm-up. Works like an instant liquid facelift.
Oh my gosh. Well,
it's better than what's on radio today.
Well, yeah, actually, because I actually laughed at that.
And you get our general managers happened to be tuning in right about that time, and he didn't waste any time calling us up.
No.
And it was the end of our show. We were wrapping up. We were packing up and ready to go, and he calls, and he asks for me. And I never heard anybody like what I heard on the other end of the phone. It terrified me. I was shaking for days. I don't have the phone call, obviously, but here's basically what he said. And Dave, you read these. This is now known as Fred Moore's 9 commandments.
Well, this is he actually came over.
No, that's
in his pajamas.
That'll
right?
come. No, that'll come up later. That'll be on the next we're almost finished with this episode.
Okay.
We're going to talk about that. That was when I parked on the grass. No, this is when you just called me and reamed me out.
All right.
And this became what we know today as the 9 commandments. He couldn't come up with 10. I could probably come up with the 10th, but he gave us 9, and that was enough. And here's you reading them out this is on our last episode, actually. But you read the 9 commandments for us. This is what he yelled to me over the phone, and I had to write this down.
You were writing it down.
Yeah, he told me to get a pencil and write this down, and I actually did. Today, I'd be like...
And I got to say, as nervous and as shaky as you were, your handwriting was quite impressive.
Thank you.
It's always
very nice printing.
Oh, he's impeccable.
Under stress.
I'm actually surprised I actually wrote it down. As a rebellious teenager,
Well, you were just thinking, hey, this is some material. We can work with this.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Getting reamed out by the general manager.
I'm going to write this down. This is going to come in handy. This is going to come in handy for future bits. And I was right. Here's what the 9 commandments were. Fred Moore calling me up live after that acid flashback bit.
Don't talk, just listen. Mr. Moore, don't say anything. Get a pen and paper and write this down. Right now. Number 1, you do not
Hold on, I didn't get my pen yet.
The delay system. I don't care.
Don't talk.
Chris, I don't care. Don't talk. Don't say a word. Do not use the delay system. Period. Number 2, do not
Hold on, I
put the
didn't finish writing
telephone
that. I didn't finish writing it down.
on the air.
Don't talk.
Number 3, talking should not exceed 10 minutes an hour. An
Not a
hour,
bit.
Chris and Dave,
Not a
not
bit.
per bit. An hour. 10 minutes. Do not refer to equipment functions on the air. Number 5, don't try to be funny because you're not funny. Number 6, do not talk over songs and over other recorded material. 7, do not tie up the telephone. I've been trying to call for the last hour and a half, and I have not been able to get through. Number 8, giggling and studio noises are prohibited. Number 9, no special effects shall be used. And there was no 10. I don't know what happened. And we just go, oh, Mr. Moore, what's happening here? So we just said, okay, fine. He was very upset.
Number 10, don't make fun of my rules. Which we did.
Oh. Anyway, that took.
Well, I just felt all those feelings come back.
Didn't it?
Of just getting reamed out by the general manager. Like, oh man, we won't be allowed on the air ever again.
Mm-hmm.
That was very deflating.
Are we going to get suspended from school?
That actually took a lot out of me. I had to, it took a while for me to recover from that because I didn't know where we were going to take the show from there because there were so many restrictions put around us. And eventually we got our swing back because I think for the next couple of episodes, we might have tried to stay within those parameters, but then slowly we would inch back to where we were because if I remember correctly, we did a lot of recordings pre-show. Like I would go.
Yeah, that was your loophole, right?
That was my loophole. I was already looking for a loophole.
Well, we only went on the mic for less than 10 minutes. Live, that is.
Well, he said it should be recorded material. Well, we used to do then we would record from my basement, and I would play those bits on the air. But then eventually we would do them live back in the radio station, and he wouldn't know the difference of whether they were recorded pre-show or live. And he just gave up because he said he wanted to prove everything that I did. So I would send him recordings. I would give him tape recordings, and he just like, he didn't have any time for it. He didn't want to listen to them. So he just said, it's fine. So we got back to our swing, but I think it took a lot out of us. And I think our show started to deteriorate at that point. I think, as I remember, we started to, well, also part of this. Do you remember Wayne Leela?
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't any help either. He was always calling into radio shows. So I don't know. I don't even know what his background is. He was always that local thorn. Weirdo. I mean, he seemed like he was about 50 then. I don't know how old he was, but he was old.
He lived in a hotel.
Yeah, the Hotel Tivoli.
Yeah. And he ran for president.
Which we interviewed him for the interview, for 1984. I don't think he did very well in the New Hampshire primary, if I remember correctly.
Probably not. I think his platform was a bit too conservative for the time.
I need to listen to that again to see what his positions were.
But he kept calling to get people in trouble, not just us, but others. He didn't like the songs, or he heard a swear word, or something. And then, as I remember, to pacify him, the school actually let him go on the air and do his own show.
I've got his promo here. Here's his promo.
And he played classical music.
Yes,
as
exactly.
I recall.
You are absolutely right. Here's his commercial.
Tune in from 10:05 p.m. to 11 p.m. Sunday evenings for the best in classical music. Your host, Wayne Leela, has distilled what is generally considered the finest classical music from the many, many classical works that have been written, and he presents them for your enjoyment. How about giving it a listen?
Give it a listen every Sunday night, beginning at 5 after 10. Listen to the Wayne, the legend, the man.
He backed off of us because, I don't know, I think I would take his calls and I would just talk to him, and he seemed like he was cool with us. So he backed off. But between him and Fred Moore and the staff, I think they're just beating on us because we weren't like conforming to the rest of the staff. I think the show, it took its toll on our show.
Chris, you were breaking format. So what did you expect?
Going against the
grain.
The man.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we started.
Not only the man, but we had much internal resistance with the other staffers.
Yeah.
Who wanted, we had we had the two camps that wanted to be all music, but then you had like the long hair group.
Right.
And then you had the blue hair group.
Oh,
more or less. Or,
okay,
you know,
so
you
the
had
metal,
the new punk rock group.
Yeah.
Versus the metal group.
And the metal dudes. So it was you're one or the other. And then there was what we were doing, which didn't fit anything.
Well, that's because
we were mutually hated.
Yeah, but
well, you know, which makes you feel included.
Special. You're special.
You know, when everyone hates you.
But the thing is, you were doing personality-driven radio when everybody else wanted to just play their jams and say how great their music was.
Well, and I think I started to lose you a little bit, Dave. I think you were starting to regret maybe the format that we were going for. I think you started getting into playing some of like the long jams like this. Remember this?
Down in Joe's garage. We didn't have no dope or LSD, but a couple of quarts of beer.
And I don't know.
I did have a Frank Zappa period. I remember.
This is pre-Valley Girl.
But I thought at the time, I thought this might have fit a little bit. But looking back, no.
So, yeah, it was tough to keep our show going at this point. So,
but speaking of format, by the way.
But it's all good. I still, looking back on it, it's all good because
it all worked.
We were exploring, and not all exploring is fruitful. So
you can run into dead ends.
It was all good. I don't regret any of it.
No. But I was going to say about format, there always was a built-in format for this Chris and Dave Smorgasbord. There would always be probably at least 2 Pink Floyd songs and 1 David Gilmour and 1 Roger Waters. In each show.
Well, Roger Waters came later, but maybe an ELO song.
Oh yeah, there was ELO.
I was playing ELO, which I took heat from that too. There was a guy on the staff, Earhart, Dan Earhart. He was my thorn. He used to make fun of me like ELO. You always playing ELO, but he was this big Hall & Oates fan.
Yeah.
And then payback time was when ELO came to town in 1981. And Hall & Oates opened for them.
Yeah.
So I was able to rub that in his face.
Yeah.
Chump.
Yeah. Well, ELO was a perfect choice, really, because it fit the lightheartedness of our show. They weren't a band that got into heavy themes or politics or anything like that. So, it fit pretty nicely.
I don't think you were playing Black Flag at the time.
No. So,
speaking political,
as we wrap up this episode, I don't know. I don't remember exactly what happened, but there was times where I think you didn't come to the show. And then, so Jerry and I actually did a couple of shows together. Pete came on, and then the show kind of ended, in the spring of 1983. And then we split. So the saga will continue on the next episode of that in-between season of what we did separately and what made us, I think, stronger for the second coming of Chris and Dave. So we'll get back to that in episode 151.